Trump was at the Commanders-Lions game.
Yes, he was.
On Sunday night. And he got on the broadcast, even had some things to say. He was making the rounds there. Didn't get the best reception, but he was also on Pat McAfee's show, which, let me tell you, as somebody who worked at ESPN, this was a monumental occasion for ESPN to give airtime to a conservative, not just any conservative. I mean, it is MAGA movement.
The
it
final
is Donald
boss
Trump.
of conservatives.
Exactly. I mean, he's a polarizing figure. He strikes a lot of people, emotional reactions to him. And for Pat McAfee to get him on there, I thought it took a lot of guts for Pat McAfee to do that, but he had to get approval. Like, he does have to get approval from his higher ups. And I think this is a huge step in the right direction for anybody as a company to respect the office of president. Here's a little clip from Pat McAfee on Donald Trump.
It is our honor, live from Paris Island, to say, ladies and gentlemen, joining us now for the first time ever, the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Hello, Pat. Hi, Pat.
So most people would think with our show that this would be an impressionist of the president because no president would actually join us. But on this Veterans Day, we want to say, Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. And I'm only joining you because I hear you say such nice things about me from your very large audience. I've always heard you've said such nice things.
It was great. And he spent probably 15, 20 minutes, President Trump did, with McAfee. McAfee kept asking him to give hoorahs.
Loved it.
And then he got the response from the Marines that were there, and he was into it. But again, if you follow, there was just a report out from Paul Feinbaum on the SEC network, and he did an interview, and he was telling a story that said he wanted to have President Trump on around to talk about SEC football. There was an SEC championship game, and his bosses at the time said no. Said, we do not want to give him airplane. We don't want a platform or whatever the terminology that they wanted to use. And yet they had multiple times that had President Obama on, other left-leaning presidents they had on and given airtime and done bracketology and everything else with. And I was at the company when they did that. Colin Cowherd interviewed President Obama. I never had a problem with it. I think it's the president of the United States. If he wants to come on and talk sports and show a different side of him, that is awesome, and you should take that opportunity. And I think it's a huge step in the direction for ESPN, who does have different management and different, executives in place now that are realizing that there is a bigger sports audience than just the left-leaning audience. There's a sign at ESPN that's up on a wall, and it says, serving sports fans across the world. And I think for a little while, ESPN lost its way, and it said, only serving certain sports fans, or what direction you lean politically will serve you, or they would only go for new sports fans or minority sports fans or LGBT, and they forgot about all of sports fans who are really their core audience. Those are the diehard sports fans that have been sports fans their whole lives, that don't care about your politics, that don't care about your sexual preference, they don't care who you vote for. They just love sports. And I think ESPN got away from that. And I think this is a big step in the right direction to at least say, let's acknowledge that this is the president of the United States. It is Veterans Day. Let's let him come on our airwaves, show his appreciation for the troops. And you know what? We've done it for the left. We can do it for the right. And if there is a new president in office in 4 years, we'll see what happens. I don't know, but let's respect the office so that you can have equal treatment for both sides.
Right. Absolutely a step in the right direction. And I'd like to believe that you're correct on that they're like loosening their stance. I think a lot of it probably speaks to the power that Pat McAfee has. I think there's something to be said about Paul Feinbaum maybe not getting the clearance, but Pat McAfee. And that's the thing I think a lot of us worried about when Pat made the move over to ESPN. Like, is he going to lose what made his show his show? And he's done a great job of kind of sticking with that. I think McAfee has a really good feel for his audience, and I think he knows that no matter what, his guys are going to stick with him if he just goes with his gut. He's always been really good about that. But yeah, it's a great thing. I'm glad to see it happening. Like you said, we use sports to kind of be our escape and our getaway in so many places. Now they've taken that away from one side who feels like we can't just go to watch our sports. We're going there and we're getting these messages that we care for. We don't care for these messages very much at all. But I haven't put ESPN on besides a game in like a million years.
Well, I haven't either because I have YouTube TV and I still can't get the channel. And
Valid.
by the way, can I just express a little beef with YouTube TV?
Have at it, man.
So they told all their subscribers and customers that you would get $20 back if you were an ESPN, Disney, if you had that package. They said, we'll give you a $20 back. Well, guess what?
Tell me.
It is not just a credit on your account. Okay. There's actually multiple steps that you have to do to go claim the $20. So like a lot of people, if that email would have gone junk or you're busy and you overlooked it or you have thousands of emails in your inbox, you might not have done it. I think it was completely lame for YouTube TV to do that. Like, you have to take care of your customers that if you basically have screwed over, and ESPN, Disney's not, no one's innocent here, but for YouTube TV, for the paying customers, you should have just credited the account back and given everybody $20 and taken it the easy way, as opposed to this, because honestly, now I look at it, I'm like, I'm a little bit ticked off at YouTube TV now for making me jump through loops to go get my $20.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I got the same email. I made sure I went out of my way to click it, so I did claim that 20. But yeah, you know what it is? It's a.
But like my parents, they're in their 80s. They're not going to They're going to be like, "Are you kidding me? I don't want to have to do all this and sign up." And they don't even remember their password.
100%.
Like they're not going to be able to do that.
And I don't know. Did you just jump on the I don't like YouTube TV right now thing because of this? Because I've been there for a couple of weeks. Because for me now, it's just I'm watching these two gluttonous behemoth companies battle over a couple of extra billion while us regular folks can't watch. This is 2 weeks in a row I've teed up for Monday Night Football. Big teams are playing too. Yeah. We're not getting it, and it sucks, man. It's brutal.
It's brutal. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out other ways. I have the ESPN app on my television, trying to use that. It's a little glitchy. It's not great.
Right.
But we'll see if they get it figured out. We mentioned the warm reception that President Trump got there in Paris Island. It wasn't quite the same at the Commanders game. Here's he is, a couple pictures of him there at the game. He even hopped on the broadcast during the game,
which he was great on.
Oh, he's made for television, right? I mean, he was in TV before he took the office, and of course with The Apprentice, the TV show, and then the guy's constantly on TV, so you should feel pretty comfortable there. But when the crowd was when he was shown up there on the jumbotron, here is the crowd reaction to President Trump. Okay, I did not see that.
Oh, really?
No, that's the first time I've seen that. Like, I had read about it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you read those stories and you're like, well, did they exaggerate?
Who wrote the story? Right.
That's pretty loud booze.
Oh, that's super loud.
Now,
super
what was he doing there? Was he swearing in new citizens? Was he swearing in new people, committing to the military? Because there was the group on the field that was repeating an oath. I don't know if it was like they were brand new to the U.S. or they were, going to serve our military. I don't know what it was. That's what I hate for the most, because I think President Trump is used to getting booed, but those people on their night, whatever special night it was, that was pretty shocking. That is one where I do think Trump has always. I was at the Army-Navy game one year when he went there. Very warm welcome.
Yeah,
He's usually pretty smart and coordinated into the events that he goes to. I was at a national championship game, college football, southern portion of the country. Got a very warm welcome. That was interesting. I wonder how Trump feels inside about that. But I will say he's used to being a punching bag.
Yeah, that's definitely a new thing, because we've seen him at a million sporting events over the last couple of years, and he's gotten a ton of love, and it's been everywhere from California to Texas to Florida to New York. And yeah, that's the first one I've heard like that. Look, I'm going to be honest. I've been a big supporter for the longest time, but I can understand where there might be gripes with him right now. A lot of the things that he has promised, maybe he hasn't quite delivered on. I'm still behind him. I think he's better than the alternative option we had. We'll leave that at that. But interesting to see, because this weekend the UFC goes up to MSG. So we're going to see right in the heart of New York City, if it was, because obviously that's Washington, D.C. It's one of the most liberal, cities in the country. So he may not be getting a fair shake there. Definitely.
UFC, I feel like he should get it. I mean, everywhere he's ever been to a UFC event, he's got the entrance, and it's been a pretty warm welcome.
That's why I think it's going to be a real gauge of how people are feeling right now, because you could just say that he's in a liberal city, so they're booing him out of the building. But we've seen him do well in liberal cities over the last couple of years. So I think Saturday night's going to be a big tell.
I don't think you'll see the new New York City mayor-elect Mondani in there, so I don't think you'll see him there. There was a pretty cool aspect from the game. The game was a laugher. Lions were in control start to finish. It was kind of a joke. But during the game, Amon-Ra St. Brown had a pretty interesting celebration that was kind of ignored on the broadcast. They didn't bring it up, even though everybody knew exactly what he was doing with the little ditty that he did. Here's Amon-Ra's touchdown celebration.
Goff on the slant to St. Brown. He is in for a Lions touchdown.
Give it to me. And the whole team, like everybody else is doing it with him.
It wasn't just Amon-Ra. Nope.
No. And so they didn't mention it on the broadcast. I mean, they were doing this last year, too. A couple NFL players were doing it last year. But after the game, here's a little touchdown. We get a little breakdown here, a little inside slant underneath.
Yep.
Gets in.
Yeah, he wins inside. Yep. Gets vertical right away.
Yep. Most importantly, gets it across the end zone, crosses the plane. Here was Amon-Ra St. Brown after the game talking about his celebration.
Nah, I mean, I heard Trump was going to be at the game. I don't know how many times, the president's going to be at the game. So just decided to have some fun and do his dance.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. And I guarantee you he gets a lot of hate on social media for doing that. But
social media is not real. So
no, it is not.
And I hate to break the news to people who really aren't sure, but guys, there's a lot more conservative athletes than they want to make you believe. I mean, we've seen this ever since 2020 when the whole COVID thing happened, right?
Yep.
And they were forcing players to decide upon playing or, maybe doing something that they weren't completely comfortable with their body. And I think, look, a lot of the things that make you successful athlete to that level are things that, right or wrong, they tend to be what people liken with like the conservative side over the last half a decade. It's like, I don't know. I'm not going to go through them right now, but I mean, like, that's another can of worms. But I mean, like, I think a lot more inside the locker room probably feel like Amon-Ra St. Brown and a lot of these other guys. It's becoming a little more acceptable to voice it now, whereas the last couple of years, it's like a death sentence if you're like a fringe player.
Yes, and I think people were afraid to get canceled. Right. That's my favorite part about the locker room. I used to get into political arguments with teammates, and we would disagree vehemently.
Yeah.
Like, you would have total opposite sides of the aisle, maybe some insults thrown.
Right.
But you know what? After we were done, it was all good.
That's it.
We could put it past us. We can agree to disagree, which is okay to do. Voice your dissent at the ballot box. And, make your vote known. You can make your opinion known. But if you don't agree, it's okay. Yeah. And I think that respect was there. And I think we need a lot more of that respect shown as a society.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I've said it a lot of times, man. I think it's like a microcosm of what the world should be, the locker room.
Yes.
Right? We all look different. We all come from different places, but we're all in the same place. We're all pulling in the same direction for the same purpose. And that's why, like, where I think our experiences make us a little jaded to one side or the other. Like me, I hear about the racism in the world, and I hear about the way that people aren't supposed to get along, but I think about my own experiences, and I don't know if it makes it harder for me to understand the plight of people who are outside of the locker room, but to me, it's like, man, I just don't see it in my life, and I'm extremely grateful for it. They accept us, and we accept them, and we're family in there. So
yep. All right, we're going to turn into the PBD podcast before long, getting a little politically heated in here this morning, talking about some of these topics.